Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Adria Twin 640 SLB Supreme. So starting our walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle, at the rear you have your fresh water intake. So this is where you put a hose pipe into the vehicle and wait until it either overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board, which you can see on the main control panel. So it is lockable with the key. Take it off, hose pipe in there, fill until it overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. You will need to carry a hose pipe with you and some hose pipe ends, as most of the sites are just a brass tap. And then if you come round to the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light with reverse camera underneath. And then opening the door, you've got your LPG locker this side, so liquid petroleum gas. In there you can fit 2 bottles, so that's our 6 kilogram propane test bottle. And to connect the pigtail to the bottle, it is a left hand thread hand tighten on the red surround. And then what you'll want to do is turn the bottle off when travelling and turn it on when you arrive on site. And then always use the straps provided to tie the bottle in when you've got it in situ. There is a crush valve on the top of here as well, so if you are struggling to get gas, just make sure the yellow nib on the regulator is pushed in, because if that pops out, it's just a crush valve sensor, which it tells you all about it here on the door of the gas locker. So you've filled your fresh water up and you now want to drain it off. So to drain it off, just underneath the bed here there's this little flap, and you just turn that to the left twice and it'll drain directly out underneath the chassis. Turn it once and allow 20 litres to stay in the tank, but turn it fully will allow all the water to drain off. So if you're winterising the vehicle or you've taken on contaminated water, you're simply just not using it, allow the water out, but especially in the winter, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze in the main tank. As we're coming round to the passenger side of the vehicle, you've got your cassette loo. So in here is your cassette, but it also tells you there's something to do with your waste in here, and that is your waste outlet. So if you use the red key and put it in here and you turn it down over, there's a little waste pipe here, and it'll allow all the water you've put down the plug hole out. So normally on the way out of a site you would open this over the motorhome service bay and allow that to drain out. And in the winter you don't want any water to stay in there either, as you don't want the water to crack the waste tank. We're coming back to the cassette. So to use the cassette, ensure that the blade on the bottom bowl of the toilet is in a closed position. Then what you will want to do is lift the blue handle and slide it out, but that's open, so bear with us 2 moments. So once it's shut, you'll be able to lift and slide the cassette out like so. You've got some wheels on, so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally near your shower and toilet block. You then remove the blue cap, press the blue button and tip it to 90 degrees, tip it out. Once you've drained it all out, if you put some water in via the spout, there's normally a tap, put some water in here, put the cap back on and give it a rinse, tip out again for a thorough clean. And then if you're using the liquid, so either the green or the blue liquid, this is 120 ml maximum cap, so you put 120 ml of the blue or the green liquid into here and straight into the cassette. And if you're using the tablets, you can either put the cassette in completely dry, push it in, flush a pint of water into the cassette and then follow by a green or a blue tablet, or you can put a pint of water in from outside. Doesn't really matter if you put it in before you put it in the van or you put it in the van empty, put a pint of water into the cassette. But ask your sites which tablets they prefer to use, or chemical, because a lot of sites will prefer to use the green now rather than the blue, as it's just more environmentally friendly and doesn't have any dye in that could damage anything. You've got your Truma vent here for your boiler system, and then you've got your hookup points. This is your mains connectivity point, so get your hookup lead, lift the collar, slide on, hook the vehicle up first, then your power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle. At the passenger doors, where you'll find your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key, and then below you've got AdBlue. So the AdBlue light will come on between the fuel and temperature gauge on the dashboard. It won't give you a range or tell you anything. It will tell you AdBlue level low, but it will not give you a range of a countdown like other vehicles. So when this does come on, simply pulling to a petrol station, buy it on the pump or buy it in the drums and fill it up. It is a 19 litre tank. If you fail to do that, the vehicle could go into limp mode or fail to start, as it's designed to protect the engine from any damage caused. Tyre pressures are on the passenger door shut, so you've got 5.5 bar to 79.5 psi. On the passenger seat, you'll notice that you've got a battery isolation switch, so you've got on and off. This is just works your 12 volt electrics off your leisure battery. Your leisure battery lives underneath the passenger seat, so you've got two main battery fuses there, a 2 amp and a 30 amp. And then your dashboard is where your bonnet release is on the passenger side. Engine battery does live underneath the floor in the cab. So we'll have a quick look underneath the bonnet. You've got all your fluids to the left, so you've got your screen wash. This cover lifts off and fills your power steering fluid and your radiator coolant. Then you've got your brake fluid reservoir, engine oil and engine oil dipstick for checking your levels, paint code, so it's 453 for the Azure Largo Blue on this model. You've got an earth for giving or receiving a jump start, and then just underneath the passenger headlight, lift the collar with this key or a screwdriver, you've got your positive, which is underneath there. Weight plate, so don't go off this anymore, go off this one. It's now been converted to a stage 2 and it's now an Adria motorhome, so it's 3.5 ton. If you were to put a tow bar on and tow with it, you can tow up to a train weight. So this is the motorhome, and whatever you're towing can't exceed 6 ton. Once inside the vehicle, you've got your two main control panels. So you've got your Adria 12 volt control panel, and you've got your Truma digital control panel for heating and hot water, which I'll get onto in a moment. So I'll start with the 12 volt control panel. So to turn on and off, you just press here, and then it'll indicate if you're hooked up by this one here, which indicates that you are receiving 240 volt and all your 3-pin sockets in the vehicle will work. If you didn't have this, you will just be running off your 12 volt leisure battery. To this side, if you scroll to the right with the wheel, you've got your leisure battery reading. So 13.5 volts in your leisure battery. Scroll to the right again and the battery goes to the front, which indicates the vehicle battery, and it's 13.5 volts again. To get a true reading of batteries, always make sure that you're unhooked when you are reading them, because when you're hooked up, obviously they will give a little bit more of a false reading. Scroll to the left, you can turn the pump off and on. So this is the pump, tells you how much fresh water, so we've got 50% of fresh water on board and 0% waste. As you've just seen, we have just let the water out. Come to your digital control panel for Truma. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold. This is kind of like the standby screen, so you just press enter to go into the menu, and in the top right hand corner you've got a motorhome with a thermometer in. This is how hot you want the vehicle to be. So you can go all the way to 30 degrees or all the way to off, depending if you want the heating on or not. But for this, we'll just say 30 degrees, and you will just press enter to preset that at 30 degrees. Moving on, you've got a water with a thermometer in, This is how hot you want your water to be, so click on that. If you didn't have any water on board, you would have it off, because it would be like boiling a kettle without any water in. You'd burn the element out. But if you did want to heat the water, you've got two options. So you've got Eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water. Hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. And you've got Boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritise the water first. But for this, we'll just say hot. So this is 60 degrees of heating your water, and press enter. And then you do have which source. So this one here is the source. We've got a picture of a gas bottle and some electricity symbols. So you can have gas on its own if you're well camping and you didn't have any 240 volt hookup. You've got mix 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got mix 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. So if you're in desperate need to heat the vehicle or heat the water in the winter months, using both sources together on mix 2 will really reduce the time it takes to heat the vehicle or the water. You would give it about 20 minutes on mix 2, and then you turn it back to electric, as you wouldn't want to waste your gas. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt. And you've got electric on 2. So you'd normally use electric on 2 on most sites throughout the UK. Electric on 1 abroad if you're on a smaller CL site. But if you're using any high voltage equipment at the same time as having the electric on 2, turn it to electric on 1, just in case it trips the vehicle out. But ask your site which amperage they give you through your cooker bleed, and this will determine whether you use electric on 1 or electric on 2. So for this, we'll just say electric on 2. And then in the top right, you've got the fan, so you can have it on Eco or High. Eco takes a lower feed of 12 volt, and you can sleep with it on Eco because it's not as loud. On High, it is designed to blow the heat around the van a bit more harder, just to get the vehicle up to temperature sooner. At the bottom, you've got a timer in the bottom left, so you can time the heating to come on and off just the once. You've got the clock on the main display panel, and then should you get a warning triangle, you can go into the settings, which is this one here in the bottom right. Go to reset, click on it, it'll say preset, click again, and what it's going to do is it's going to completely shut this control panel down, restart it, and you'd have to go back in and set the temperature, the water, the source and the fan again. And then to turn off, just press and hold like so, and it'll go off. So in the kitchen area, you've got 2 gas hobs, just like so. Allow them to cool down before you put the glass cooker hood down. And then you do have your tap. As long as your pump's on, you'll get pressurized water, and that's on the hot there, so it's getting nice and warm water there. Got storage, so you just push your cupboards and then they are on a gas strut. And below, got storage drawers. You've got your oven and grill. So you've got your grill first, which is lit like so. And you've got a light on there. Then if you go the other way, you've got your oven, which you can see lit at the back. Above the oven is where you'll find your gas isolation taps for the hob and the oven. So any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Kitchen light and a 3-pin plug. And then your fridge is dead simple to use. It's just a 12 volt compression fridge. So you just wave your hand over, so you've got your on off button here, which you just press and hold, turn on and off. And temperature, so you can go up and down on the temperature. And then you've got the night, moon. So this is the night setting. So what that does is it just quietens the decibel of the fridge down on 12 volts. So this will work when hooked up or when not. As long as you've got charge in your leisure battery, it will work. But then when you are finished with it, if you clean it out, little blue clip here, put that in the middle and then just rest the door up against it. Don't shut the door, just leave it like that. When winterizing, this will stop any mold and bacteria growing in the fridge, as you don't want to come back to a fridge that's all green and nasty. Storage drawer underneath. In your washroom, so if you pull this here, you can shut the toilet off when showering, and you've got your shower cubicle with shower head. But one thing when winterizing, if you unscrew your shower head from your hose, allow your hose to lie in the shower tray and leave all your mixer taps throughout the vehicle open, this will eliminate any water that's in the pipework behind to drain out. It'll also mean that any water that's in here, it drains out through the waste, and you'd have the waste open and obviously your fresh open, and then you'd open your boiler, which I'll get onto in a second, and that's how you'd winterize the vehicle. So always make sure this is taken down, unscrewed, and all the mixer taps throughout the vehicle are all left open. This is just magnetic, so it'll just clip back. Got your light switches here. Plug's just a push plug. Some storage above for toiletries, and a reel to hang your wet towels or wet coats on, let them drip dry. To operate your toilet, you've got your fresh water flush at the back, so make sure your pump's on and press the blue button. This will flush the toilet, so always flush the toilet first, which keeps the seal on the blade lubricated and it won't go brittle. And then what you need to do is slide this grey lever to the right, use the toilet with the blade open, flush after use, and then slide this to the left, as otherwise, like what happened outside, this was left open, the cassette won't come out. It needs to be shut for the cassette to come out. And then when the cassette is full, it'll indicate here, this red light, this green light, sorry, will go red and indicate that it is time to change and empty the cassette. And then you do have your concertina door, which you take your strap off the top for when travelling, and that shuts the bathroom off from the rest of the vehicle. So at the back of the vehicle on the SLB, you've got two single beds, but you can put this board in here, which just rests on top of the two ledges to create the centre part of the bed, or you can have it so you don't have that in at all. It's up to you. But you'll notice you've got these straps on this side, so this is to pin the bed up, so you can lift it up. You can lift the whole frame up if you want, which we'll do, and we'll show you in a minute when we get this out of the way. Then if you did want to remove the other bed, that would just fold up, and what you'd do is you'd unscrew the bolts at either end of these bars and they would lift out, and then this, if you lift a step up, you'll see that there's two wing nuts in the bottom. If you unscrew that, this will lift out as well. And if you are planning to carry a bike or any larger items, or you're doing a bit of shopping at IKEA and you want to put some flat pack furniture in, you can leave all this at home and use the load area that does have the tethering points in the four bottom corners to tie your load down so it's secure when travelling. Underneath the floor, direct from the bathroom door, if you lift this panel out, this is where you'll find your drain down for your Truma boiler. So this is a frost control valve, so when it hits 3 degrees this will automatically open, but always check, don't rely on it, because if you ever get a faulty drain valve, you then become liable, because draining down the vehicle is not covered under the Adria warranty. It's your responsibility. So what you've got to do is ensure that when it's pointing from front to back and the button on the bottom here is closed, if it goes from side to side, the nib pops out, the button pops out, and this will drain 10 litres of water directly underneath the chassis. Leave it open during the time you've got the vehicle stood up and not using it, and then when you do come to reuse it, turn this front to back, push the button in, You'll also want to open this little grey tap here, which is just allows any water that's in the lines to drain off. Shut that. Shut the fresh from underneath the bed at the back. Shut the waste. Shut all the taps through it out the vehicle. Fill the vehicle with water via a hose pipe. Come in, put the main panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get automatic cold water because it's drawn from the main tank via the water pump straight to the tap. Go to the hot tap, or should I say the hot side of the tap. You'll get, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises, and what that's doing is it's drawing the 10 litres of air that's accumulated in the boiler out through the taps until you get a steady flow of water. Once you've got a steady flow of water on one tap, do them all, and then the system is primed and ready for the season. But ensure that you drain this down, because if you don't, it's not covered under warranty and it's a very costly mistake. Underneath the rear travelling seats, so you've got your boiler there, which I've just explained, which drains through the floor underneath the carpet here. But you've also got your 240 trips. So if you trip the vehicle out with a hairdryer or kettle or any large appliance, try here before you try your main sight. And you do have Isofix on the rear seats, so if it was children's car seats you are wanting to put in, these ones do take Isofix seats, so the new design child seats. You've got your TV bracket, which just push this in and you'll be able to slide it out like so, and then that will turn into the back of the motorhome as well. Got a 240 socket, a 12 volt, a TV point and 2 USBs there. Storage in the top, and then open this skylight. Just use the winder and wind it like a sunroof, but make sure all your skylights and windows are closed when traveling. Same for the back one. And then you do have a blackout blind and a fly screen. They clip together, so unclip them and they can both depart. Underneath the driver's seat in the cab is where you'll find the location of all your fuses. So your fuses are underneath this blue panel here. So it would be a good idea to carry some more fuses with you as spares, as this is your electric block unit. That just clips on there. So all your fuses are there, and then to turn your seats you just pull this out, pull the seat forward and slide it round into the back, and it's the same for the passenger seat that I'm sitting on as well. So you do get 4 seats round the table, and then the table does extend by just pulling this lever down and sliding out. So all 4 can dine around the table. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver you do have your handbrake. And on the doors you have your electric windows, so passenger and driver. And then your electric mirror adjustments, so you've got 2 adjustments on each side. So you've got the top and the bottom, which is the blind spot. And then to black the driver and passenger door out, if you slide this forward, expose the magnet, and then if you lift it up and just allow the magnet to clip on to the frame of the door, that's how you would do the driver and passenger. And then to do the front windscreen, you just pull the blinds up. You will have to just adjust this, and it just pulls up over there, and you have to adjust it to get it right to the top, and then that would black out the windscreen on an evening. Coming back down beside the driver, so you've got your auto start stop if you wanted to deactivate it, your front and rear fogs, and your headlight adjustment. You've got your trip computer on the end of your wiper stalk, which will tell you your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times, your distance travelled and so on. You've got all your steering wheel controls. You've got your headlights, so you've got off headlights, but you've got automatic, so I would just leave them on automatic headlights and then you don't really need to touch them. It'll come on with the sensor. But at the bottom you've got off, cruise control at the top, get your desired speed, push up, sets it, push up, speeds up, pull down, slows down, cancel with a foot brake or cancel on the end of the stalk, and then you can just press resume to the last speed set before the engine was turned off. And then below you've got SLD, so you've got speed limiter. So what you can do is if you push up slowly it goes up in 1s, push and hold it goes up in 5s, and you'll see it says at the top lim off, but then it'll tell you a speed in the top corner. You'll be able to drive up to that speed. If you then put your foot flat to the floor, it will override it as a safety feature. But if you just hover on the accelerator lightly, you won't go over that speed at all until you actually put some force down on the accelerator. 9-speed manual, 9-speed automatic gearbox even. So you've got park, reverse, brings on the reverse camera, and then drive at the bottom. But if you go to the left, you'll see in the bottom left right hand corner it says 1. Go up and down the gears, you can change it and intervene. You do have drive modes as well, which is eco, power or normal, but I would just leave it in normal. To be fair, I don't see any advantage to eco, not when I've driven them anyway. Power, you get a little bit more, it holds the rev slightly more, so it takes a little bit longer to change gear to get you up to speed quicker. But with normal, you've got the kick down function, so you can just put your foot down and it will hold the gear longer anyway and get you to speed. Down on the bottom here you've got your heated mirrors. This locks all the doors on the vehicle on an evening through the central locking. Hazards. This turns off your lane assist, so if you go over the line it will tell you by these two, it'll flash at the bottom. You can turn that off. You've got hill descent control, which is just an engine brake for the auto, and you've got traction control, so you can turn that off should you wish. USB for charging and 12 volt for charging purposes only. Got your climate control, so temperature on the outside ring, fan speed on the in, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here. And then you've got your distribution on the outside ring, so face, feet or screen, and whether you're circulating air within the vehicle or bringing fresh air in. You've got your new Fiat styled head unit, so you've got your on off here, home, volume, then these are just shortcuts designed for the driver. So you've got radio, which is FM, AM and DAB. And then you can browse the DAB list by pressing all stations, search or scroll through. And you can press 1 to 6 to save your favourite channels. There. Phone, so to connect your phone you go to phone, phones in the bottom right. Add a device by pressing the plus, and you want to find Fiat 5759 on this unit and make sure that the pins match. Press pair, and then what you can do is it'll then ask you if you want to allow your contacts to be saved. If you press allow, your contacts will be saved into the phone book, and you can scroll through and press who you want to ring if the number's saved in your phone. Media is either USB or Bluetooth audio. This is Apple CarPlay, so if you connect through a USB, your phone will imitate on the CarPlay onto the screen, project. You can turn your screen off if you're on a site and you don't want the glare on the screen, but you do have navigation. So go to your navigation, let it load up. Once it does load, it'll show you on a map where we are, so we're on the A692, Biomua. If you click the 3 lines in the bottom right, press new route, address, and put in the middle bar, so it tells you your country at the top, In the middle bar you can put the town and the postcode, which near enough everybody uses a postcode, but at the bottom tells you a street name. So if you put that where you want to go in the middle bar, press go to town, set as destination. It'll then calculate the route and it'll tell you the distance and the time it's going to take. If you click on Ducato, what you can do is you can set your maximum speed, your length, your height, your width, and if you're going to tow a trailer you can put that on as well, and you can set your actual weight. And this is all to do with the motorhome, as it's motorhome sat nav, and this feature is only on the Adria to set the weight, length, height and weight. And then you turn it on and off from the front there.